And hello to all my Capricorn friends. I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your free psychic tarot reading for January of 2022. Can you believe it? January is here already. Now today they've dialed up for you a four-corner spread. It looks at the four main areas that people usually ask about in tarot, which is your work, your finance, your love, very popular one, and of course your health. We're going to look at all four of those categories. They asked that I conclude your reading today with a health scrub. So we're going to look top to bottom, go through your health and different things that stick out that they want to bring awareness to as we move forward. Also, at the very end of this reading, the very next video that's going to autoplay is called Quadrants. This is something I do only in January, and it projects for Capricorn for the entire year. So it talks about things that are coming to you in 2022. So be sure to check that out as well. But for right now, let's deal with your January and let's get right into it. The cards are already shuffled. I do that ahead of time to save time. What I'm going to do right now is bring you in so you can watch. Go ahead and hit the like button and build up the energy in here. And also, if you're ready to have a great 2022, hit that like button. Let's go. Here we go. Recorder is on. So what I'm doing now are my ritual cuts. This basically cuts the decks into three different chunks, puts them back together in a separate order. That satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot and is the same procedure for personal readings. Do the same with this deck, and then they're ready. So here we go for Capricorn with the four corners. Up here is work. Big theme there. Holy cow, everything there is large. That's almost like kind of unfortunate when it happens. It's very good as far as letting me know that that's big and significant. It's very bad about details because they're all major arcana cards. They don't really talk about many details. Those come from more of these kind of cards. These are like pips. So this over here is your love corner. And that's not exactly the smallest corner either. That's kind of getting big as we go. Over here is finance. Much simpler. And over here is health. Okay, also simple. So there we go. There's our group. I need an oracle card here because that's a big theme. And that's the extent. That's pretty much what I need for right now. All in view, I believe so. So again, we got work, we have finance, love, and health. Let's get to work. Time to go, Capricorn. Here we go. Got to get to your health scrub too. That takes some time. So let's get health done first, and we'll move on from health. Health starts with the card of physical injury. So whether you're injured right now or not, when you're checking out this reading, you got to remember this reading is for all of January. It's not just for right now. So if you disconnect from this right away, just hang on because, January is, more than just a couple days that you're viewing this. It's the entire month until we get to February. So there's very injury-prone stuff going on here for your health. It doesn't mean, some of you may be injured right now. They do show that. But at the same time, if you're not, this is just a very injury-prone time. So be a little careful with your body, your physical body here. We're going to talk more about that when we go into the health scrub, and this is probably why they wanted to discuss it, because this is coming up as a thing that's prone for a bunch of my Capricorns here, and it's just I'm very familiar with what this energy is like, because even in its small form, this is stuff where like you stub your toe on stupid stuff, trip over your own feet, slip and fall, sleep weird and get a crink in your neck, and then your neck's sore for a couple days, or you sleep funny and your back is tight. All this kind of stuff, very, very prevalent in January, unfortunately. Now what they show next is the Ten of Swords being inverted, so it shows more mobility going on, kind of a change from being really tied down. That's a very interesting message coming in here. I'm not exactly sure where they're going with that, but I view it as more mobility, less constrictiveness. So this is something that needs more movement to it. I don't know specifically if they're saying that this is already occurring. Maybe you are starting to do more cardio or something like that that would, show movement, moving around. Walking upstairs, just going for walks. Stuff like this is coming up for movement. That's the first thing that I think about, at least when I talk about movement. So whether they're talking about what's going on right now or the advice, what needs to be coming in, that's what is showing up for your health corner. These are the two main things. So we got the injury prone and we got movement going on. So we want the movement. Hopefully it's not as like a rehab type movement where you get injured and then you have to do this movement to kind of fix it. Hopefully it's not that. Hopefully it's just, separate things. Just an injury prone time when you can just be a little careful and just get through it, no big deal. And, just watch out for the little stuff I told you about, the little stuff that you can hopefully avoid. And then, the mobility, getting more movement. Hopefully that's just to improve your health in general. So there's your health corner. Now let's move into work and finances. I'm going to do love last. Let's do finance first just because it's smaller. We'll spend a little bit more time on work. When we get into your finances, they're talking about a money message. I have the page. The page is the messenger of tarot. This is coming in later in the month, guys. So not now. This is probably after the full moon. So this is probably January 18th through the end of the month, sometime in there. There is a correspondence about money coming in. Now, this is something you take great pride in. So this is almost like getting paid for a job or a gig or, something you do on the side or something artistic or... You know what it's like? It really feels like you selling a painting. It's really what it feels like. And of course, not many of you Capricorns are going to be artists that sell paintings. I'm just giving you the example so you understand the context of where we're going with this, and you can apply it to what they're trying to tell you about your month here. So that's the vibe. Something comes in later in January, and this is financial. Of course, because we're in the financial corner, and they're also talking about money with pentacles. Pentacle in tarot is a coin, and coin is, a piece of money. So there we go. Now, something you take great pride in, you're going to know what that is. I'm not going to. You know yourself way better than I do, and that's kind of like what's coming in here. So something you take great pride in, money message coming in later, that's kind of what's going on there. If there's something that you need to be putting money into later in the month that you take great pride in, certainly that would fall into this category too. That would also align with the cards and the energy of that and everything I just discussed, really. So... whatever this is, if you can pinpoint what I'm talking about here, that's obviously the starting point. Once you get that, you're good to go because you know that they're talking about later in the month is when you're either going to get money out of it or you want to put money into it. Really we have that financial correspondence that could go either way. It could be give or take depending on what you're doing. But it lets you know that this is later in the month, not right now. Probably you're viewing this at the beginning of the month. That's when people usually do. And they're saying not right now. So there we go for finance. Now when we get into work, first thing they want to talk about here is a decision that has not been made yet that needs to be made. There is a decision that is looming here in work, and your work corner does expand out a little bit. It's work, business, enterprise, area of study, retirement if you're of that age, also anything new that you're learning, trade schools, college, all that kind of stuff. So a decision needs to be made in a category that I just mentioned. It's basically saying that you probably already thought about this and just haven't decided yet. They say that you have all the strength to do this. You have all the tools necessary. There's no reason to wait. There's no reason to delay. You can just get moving with this pretty much anytime you want. Now we also have the Empress card here. So this is birth. It's a very fertile time here. And it's the card of the divine feminine. So it basically means birth or fertile. Now, when that comes up in your work corner, it's saying that your work corner is fertile, or this new, whatever this decision is in reference to, it's saying that it's ripe. The time is now. The time is not to hesitate. So those two kind of they're very congruent. They almost are the same energy. There's different kind of levels of it, but you can see how they go together very, very nicely. And these are my major arcana cards, so this is something huge, Capricorn, that they don't want you to miss. So I hope you guys, out of all the corners, I hope you guys nail this one down the most. This is huge, 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 huge for January. For the Oracle Angel card, I have to be fair, so there is an aspect of balance here, as well as, you want to get your fair cut, but you want to also make sure you don't overdo it. Don't get too greedy. This is a give and take thing. Give, take, balance. To be fair is the name of the card. So, it almost makes me feel like if you're going into another job and they ask you, what you want your wage to be or your salary to be. You don't want to go over the top with it, but you want to get what you're due, what you're worth, absolutely what you're worth. So just try to be fair with whatever this decision is that you're trying to make or need to make in January. Let's just say you haven't made any decision yet and you have an idea of what I'm talking about here. This is the month. This is the month. I wouldn't wait until February. And if this is something new, that's well, even if it's removing something, we're going to talk about the moon cycles right now. There's just no way I can avoid it because that's really what this is all about here, this corner. Now, we have the new moon coming in on January the 2nd. That's the best time to bring anything new into your life. So if this is a decision about getting a new job or starting a new job or starting a new business or something like that that is brand new, best time to do that is the beginning of the month. It doesn't have to be on January 2nd, but just any time toward the beginning. Very, very strong energy there. Adversely, you have the full moon coming in on January 17th. That's the time when you want to get something out of your life. And that doesn't have to do anything with work necessarily. That could be people. Also, that could be emotional baggage. It could be stress. It could be habits. Anything you want to get out of your life, perfect time to do that is right in the middle of the month. So if this is something where you're like, let's say the decision to leave a job, the best time to do that is middle of the month. So there you go. You really have to decide first you have to bracket where this decision falls. Is it something new you're trying to do with your life, or is it something old that you're trying to get out and purge? And that's going to give you the alignment of the moon cycles of when you can make these things hit very, very nicely. And flow. So before we get into your last one here, well, you know what? Let's just go into it. Let's just do it. First thing they want to talk about here, just making a little bit room for myself. First thing they want to talk about is we got people coming up, but first they talk about war and chaos in your love corner. Your love corner is a little turbulent right now, or at least in January, it has a very high potential to be. That doesn't mean that it's all going to be bad. Nothing is ever all bad, but this is just challenging. It's a challenging time in January for your love corner, which, like, let's say you're single. This has nothing to do with a relationship if you're single, so your love corner expands out in that case to your friends and your family, anybody close to your heart. And actually, same thing if you're in a relationship too. All those people still are your love corner, even if, but they can also talk about your love relationship as well. So it's a very large corner. It's very hard to read, quite honestly. A good time to remind you that this is a general reading. There is quite a bunch of Capricorns tuning in and joining us, and that kind of mucks up the energy a little bit. It makes it very hard to get a clear, good read on it. Spirit does a great job of coordinating it, but at the same time, it doesn't beat a personal reading. I do offer private personal readings on my website, scottsagent.com, a wide variety of services from small all the way up to full service. And the best part about them all is that they're completely personal to you. There is no bubble energy of Capricorn in any of my services. So check those out. Now, as we get into this more, going after the kind of the challenging part, they bring up a person here. It's very masculine that they're talking about here. I don't think they're talking about you. So if you're a man that is viewing this Capricorn reading, I think they're talking about another man. They're not talking about you here. This would be talking in reference to a male or a very, very, very strong female. That can also happen. Females can come in very masculine as well. So either way, doesn't matter if you're a male or a female watching this, what they're talking about here is probably a male or a very dominant, strong person. Now, this person is either causing fights or causing problems in your love corner. Could be your partner, could be a sibling, could be family member, even a close friend, something like that. It's just a rough patch here. And your love corner being a rough patch, they show this as just a little stupid stick fight. We have the Five of Wands here, and anytime this comes up, it's basically Spirit saying that, like, don't let this ruin either a friendship or a relationship. This is just little stuff that's really not worth it. It might not feel little to you, for sure, when you're in the moment, especially when you're emotional and you're heated and all these things are going on. You feel like this is the end of the world. It's a huge deal. Spirit is telling you, hold on. Take a step back. It's really not what you think. It's really not that big of a deal. Maybe right now it seems that way, but in a few days, in a couple weeks, whatever it is, you're going to be over it. Things are going to move forward. They're going to move on, and things are going to be okay. So that's really what they show there. So there's your four corners. Very good stuff. Let's get into your health scrub. Health scrub's always a fun one. I am going to reshuffle real quick. I like to give them the chance to reuse some of these cards if they feel the need to. So I'm going to cut away while I do that so you don't have to sit there and be bored. I will be right back. Okay, Capricorn, I am back and we are ready. The cards have been reshuffled. I'm just going to do the ritual cuts again because I always do. Cuts them into 3 pieces and puts them back together in a separate order. We're ready to go with the health scrub here. I do this, at least the cards that I draw top to bottom. So here we go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to probably talk about them in reverse order. I usually like to talk about them kind of feet, floor up. Let me see what I have for extra cards. Bottom 3 need the most attention as far as the oracles. Let's see why. All right. Maybe I won't start at the bottom because that's our focus. Let's go top to bottom just like I drew the cards. I'm going to do it that way. Starting at what would be the crown if this was a chakra scrub. In this case, the health scrub. This is the very, very top of the head, the upper kind of, nasal, eyes, all that kind of stuff. Coming in very authoritative, very, very sharp, actually. I don't really see any kind of issues to talk about there. Let's move down. 2 of Swords, a little bit of... the card itself means kind of not seeing where to go, but when we get into the crown, well, I guess it could be eyes as well. That could... Some body parts kind of fall in between here in my spots. This is kind of one of those. I feel like this could be eyesight related because in the 2 of Swords in this deck, the woman is blindfolded, so she's having a hard time seeing. If that's obviously very, when I say that, if that's about you or not. If you're having some issues with your eyes, probably want to get that checked. It's coming up for a reason, and this is kind of your validation if that's the case. I really don't see anything else about that. I usually kind of view that as kind of the dark side thing. So maybe you have a sensitivity to lights, or have trouble driving in the dark or something like that. But whatever it is, whatever's going on there, if that's you, definitely get it checked out. And we move down to the 3rd slot. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 is throat. Lack of authority here. This is... This is being... it's coming in blocked, and I think it's because of smoking. I have wands come up here, and a wand basically looks like a cigarette or a cigar. That's kind of the thing here, and it's inverted, so if it was the other way around, I probably wouldn't read it the same way, and I'd probably just move on from it. If this was a chakra scrub, I'd really tell you to voice your opinion at work, but since it's a health scrub, I think it's more pictorial, more paying attention to the pictures and focusing on the wand here. So the wand very, very strongly affecting the throat area here if you are a smoker. Something to consider to move away from. It's coming up for a reason. As I move further down, here we have heart. Heart is coming in as easy work. That shows good. I mean, I would really worry if it was the other way around. If it said hard work, so showing your heart and your lungs are working extra hard, we don't want to see that, but that's not the case. And that's interesting too because the smoking came up, but the lungs came in pretty good. So it's really the throat area I'm concerned with for smokers at this time here for Capricorns. As I move further down, here we have upper stomach and upper digestive here. We have really tough delays here. This is almost like either indigestion or blockages, or the stomach not like operating fully, or maybe heartburn type stuff, esophagus. This is it's basically, they're basically saying that this needs to operate as a unit, and it's not. I'm not sure where the hang-up is. I almost feel like there's just one thing that the hang-up is. For example, if your stomach is producing like too much acid, everything else is going to be thrown kind of off. It's going to give you heartburn, and your heartburn is going to come up and burn your esophagus, and like this happens and this happens. That's kind of the vibe to this. It doesn't mean that that's exactly what I'm talking about here or what they're talking about, but I'm just giving you an example of what this could be. Everything needs to work as one unit, and it's not. So it's almost like one thing, just one thing, is throwing this whole thing off. And maybe it's something you're doing too. That's also why I need to bring this to your attention. For example, for me, anytime I have too much sugar, my body starts not liking that very much. So that's just me. But there's something maybe that you're doing that is throwing your body off. And it, like I said, it's just one thing that gets thrown off here, and everything else is kind of like affected by it. That's really what they show. As we move further down, this is lower digestive here. We have the Chariot inverted. This is very much about 2 into 1. I'm trying to think of what they're trying to say there. focusing down, yang energy. No, focusing up. Yep, it's inverted. So, all right. Bring it back in, spread it back out. So this needs to spread back out here, lower digestive. I'm not sure what this shows. It's probably, truthfully, is connected to that upper card, that blockage I showed. That this needs to spread out. You know, the lower digestive tract needs to have access to have movement and, you know, bowel movements, I guess, or movement there as far as flow is concerned. So maybe fiber comes up there. That could be a thing. Diet, of course, affects all that stuff. Now, yang is letting me know that this is mostly my males here that are dealing with this kind of deal. And I guess down there, that can also be, I guess, kind of prostate related. I would kind of expect that to show up more under root, or, you know, the extreme bottom, the lower here, number 7. But it doesn't appear to be doing that. It's showing kind of here. Yeah, that's one of those boundary ones. I hate those ones. Those are hard to pinpoint. That's what they show there. So anyway, if you're dealing with something like that, definitely get that checked out. So down here on the root is what they're showing with the devil. That's habits and well, I say root, but like it's a chakra scrub. But health scrub and chakra scrub are very hand in hand. They kind of switch out a lot. So down here, this is your arms, your legs, your appendages, your fingers, your toes. Really show being kind of bound up here. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Maybe we just need more movement here. Yeah, they have cleaned it up with my oracle card, so there needs to be movement here. I believe we talked about that earlier. This is very arms and legs related. I don't think, you know, moving your fingers or moving your toes necessarily is going to do anything, have any real, you know, physical effect on your body that's going to help you. But I think moving your arms and legs around will. For example, that's a way of them saying kind of, you know, go jogging or go for a walk. You know, those are the kind of things that you're doing when you're moving your arms and legs. I really feel like that's kind of the thing there. They want you to get rid of this binding thing. And like we talked about that earlier, then I feel, you know, it's just, it all aligns. It's all very congruent when they present it that way. It kind of helps the whole process. So there's your health scrub. Very interesting stuff there. If any of that's you, definitely get that stuff checked out. It's coming up for a reason. But like I said, it's not for everybody. But, you know, even if it's just for one person, I have to give it for the one person because that's what they want. So that's going to wrap that up. So that's your entire spread here. Please stay tuned for the next video on quadrants. It's a very interesting spread. A deep dive into divination for your whole year. It's the only time that I do this spread. And even in my personal readings, if you're the type of person that gets one reading per year, this is the time to do it because this is the only time I do it. In my personal readings too, usually I just kind of extrapolate out when I forecast about 6 months, but this is the time that I can go the full 12, and I don't do that often, like I said. So quadrants is coming up next to check it. Please check it out for Capricorn. I think you guys will enjoy that. Looking forward to your year, and that's going to wrap us up here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to like and subscribe so you see the future videos. I will see you all soon. Have a happy new year, and take care.